All right, this your boy Corey Miller, coming straight out of Moreno Valley, California, on Raw Hip Hop Heads. We got your first interview for you, man. K-Reno, the most lyrical rapper that I ever heard of in my whole life, my whole existence. One of the top artists that I look up to. I'm gonna let him go ahead and introduce himself and where he's coming from, and just tell you a little bit about himself, man. So if you can go ahead and tell him, K-Reno, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate being invited to come on, man.
No doubt.
You know, just me, myself, man, for people who might not be familiar, I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Came up in the era of Scarface and the Ghetto Boys and Rap a Lot. And, you know, I started a group called the South Park Coalition down here in Houston.
Okay.
That consisted of members like myself, Gangsta Nip, Point Blank. So, you know, we just were some of the original guys that come out this city, man, along with DJ Screw and a lot of members of the Screwed Up Clique, man. So that's just a little brief synopsis of where I come from.
So, what was that first song, man, that you wrote that really, you know, lit the streets on fire, that really put you on the map, where everybody was like, man, this dude K-Reno, this dude is crazy. Like, what was that song that really got you up there, really got you noticed, you know?
I mean, for me, it wasn't a song, because I've never just had one particular hit record that just blew the streets up, but I built my name up in the hood just battling, man. You know, long before I even made a record, I was in the streets just battle rapping at school, getting in contests, talent shows, and my name spread like that. You know, my name was known all around the city just from, you know, decapitating cats back in the days, you know, when I was young. So by the time I started, you know, making records and going to the studio and putting albums out, I already had a name. I already had a buzz, so that just helped it out. Okay.
Now, how come you never? Now, were you ever on a big record label, or you just never really wanted to mess with one, or what's the situation with that? You know?
I mean, in the beginning, when I was young, and we were just going through the same processes that a lot of artists go through. You know, we were shopping our CDs and our demo, not CDs at the time, our cassettes, our demos at the time, trying to get signed to major labels just like everybody else. But we got a lot of rejection letters. We got a lot of trial and error that we went through, and I was grateful that happened because I didn't understand how the industry worked then. So once I kind of grew into that understanding, I was glad that I had never got an opportunity to sign with a major. And me and my dad always did it independent. We started our own label back in the late 80s, and then we picked it back up in the early 90s, and we just did everything ourselves and learned the game on our own.
Okay, so how was it working with I know you said you worked with a lot of cats, you know, in the Houston area. How was it working with, you know, Scarface and DJ Screw and a lot of these guys that, you know, are so influential in hip hop? Like, what was it like to work with them? Was it like mind blowing, or back then you guys were all at the same level, so it wasn't really nothing big, or how was that for you? You know?
Yeah, I mean, we from the same hood, so at the end of the day, we were just partners. We didn't work together a lot. We saw each other, so it wasn't a situation where we were in awe of each other. It was just like, okay, you know, that's the hood. And Face was the first one to really just put Houston on the map along with the rest of the Ghetto Boys at that time. And they were the ones who laid the platform and the foundation for us to come along after them. So we always pay homage to Face. And, of course, what Screw did with the mixes and all that, he took what he did to another level. So, you know, me personally, I was just blessed to even know those guys and blessed to have the love and respect, mutual love and respect that we have for each other. Yeah,
that's real. That's real. Now, me personally, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of people that I rock with, man, me personally, I think you're more lyrical than Rakim. I'm not even going to lie, bro. I mean, Rakim is like, you know, Rakim Allah the God or whatever. I know he calls himself. He's an incredible rapper, but I definitely think that you up there. I mean, who was your influence for being so lyrical? Because, I mean, you got a lot of cats coming out of the South. You know, it's a lot of screwed up stuff. It's a lot of slower stuff. But, I mean, with yours, man, it's really, really intelligent and it's really, really lyrical. So who are you listening to that made you just be like, you know what, I'm going to do it like this and just go extra hard on them, you know?
Well, I mean, just to go back to the original part of the statement, Rakim was one of my biggest influences. So,
Okay.
I would never put myself above a guy who is part of why I am the way I am. I feel like I'm a culmination of a lot of the things Rakim did with the word play and the way he connected words. He'll connect 3 or 4 words to rhyme with one word. He was the first guy that I heard doing that. So Rakim, T. La Rock, KRS-One, LL Cool J. I'm just thinking a lot of lyrical guys. Kumo D, Big Daddy Kane. Those are some of the dudes that I listened to coming up, and I was influenced heavily by. But I eventually evolved into my own thing, in my own way, in my own style. But those guys are definitely people that I look up to and pay homage to.
That's real. Now, when you're creating a song, I mean, do you listen to the beat first, or do you just think of a subject, or like where do you get most of your subjects from? And like, what is your intent when you're rapping? And you're like, okay, I'm gonna make a song. Okay, I'm listening to this beat. Or like what is your intent when you're making the song? Are you trying to spread knowledge, or are you just trying to be lyrical? Like, what is your intent when you're creating the song?
It goes either way. Sometimes any artist, any writer will tell you the same thing. You can be sitting up in a silent room with no music playing, and a great idea for a concept will come to you, or you can be inspired by something that you see around you, and the idea will come to you, and the beat would have nothing to do with it because there's no beat around. So when that happens, that's one phase of creativity. But sometimes you do receive a beat. Sometimes somebody shoots you a beat, and the beat creates the concept for you based on how it sounds. It's like, man, this beat sounds like it's drama going on. This beat sounds like it's lyrical. The beat kind of takes you in the direction that it wants you to go. So for me, it can go either way. I don't have a set preference.
That's true. So one of your favorite songs that you came up with that I really, really loved was Return of the Sorcerer, and then you had a couple of other Sorcerer ones that's kind of slipping my mind right now. But how did you come up with that whole concept?
It's funny because that was one of the songs that the beat was given to me first. The first song of that particular Sorcerer saga was a song I did called The Sorcerer's Den, and I received a beat from my homie DJ Crew. And the beat was just so different, man. It was like, man, you just can't just do anything on this beat. And I remember, man, I was sitting up one day, man, and the flow pattern came to me the way I was going to spit on it. And then the concept came, and I was gone. So once I made the concept to the Sorcerer's Den, it was so popular that I had to bring him back. So I made Return of the Sorcerer. Then I had like 3 or 4 other parts to it, and finally completed the saga. So it's like some Harry Potter type 4 or 5 part, series type stuff, man.
It's dope. So, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, I'm just saying that people like it and enjoy it, and I haven't done a Sorcerer sequel in a while, but people still ask me to this day, "You gonna bring the Sorcerer back? You gonna bring him back?" And I don't know if I will, if I won't, but I just leave it open. You never know.
That's real. I mean, so do you have any other like characters that you're working on right now, or do you have any other like concept songs like that where you're gonna have like a part 1, a part 2, a part 3? Like, are you working on any other characters like that?
Well, it's funny because I never used to be big on part 2s and 3s. I hated that. I hated to hear other rappers do it. Like, I hated when a rapper would name his album a particular title, and then his next album is the same title, part 2. They used to bother me. But there's something about that Sorcerer deal that it seemed like it had a little more legs in it, a little more life to it. So I kind of rocked it out. But I always was figuring in my mind to not push it too far to where it gets corny after a while. You have to be real careful with those kind of concepts. So I have been able to go into other concepts similar to that and we create new characters, and that leaves the door open to maybe create sequels, but I don't know if I will or if I won't yet, though.
That's cool. Yeah, man. I mean, whatever you come up with, I know it's going to be dope, though. So I was going to ask you, So that's one of my favorite songs, and another one of my favorite songs too is called "Try." I know you know that "Try" one that you had. What album was that on?
That was on Day of the Storm, I think.
So what was your influence when you wrote that? And you had the you had another one too. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, my homie from Germany, More Time, sent me some beats, and that was one of the beats, and I liked it, but I didn't know what I could do on it. I was like, man, I can't rap on it. I didn't feel right rapping on it. It didn't seem like it. So I said, man, I started messing around with melodies and kind of singing little melodies to it. So I just started writing to it, and it came out almost like just a singing song. So people was really tripping on it because it was something that I had never done before, and it was different. But the concept of it and the subject matter was so touching to people because it was a simple, and a lot of people related to it.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, that song really touched my heart, man. Because me growing up, I grew up in group homes and a lot of different things like that. You know, just growing up as a black man, it can be hard enough just doing that. You know, so. Definitely right there. I mean, it really, really did touch my heart. I was going to ask you, though, what song really, like, you know, is close to your heart? Like what song really touches you where it's like when you hear that or, like, you can't even believe that you wrote that? Like, man, you know, to this day, that's still one of my favorite songs. Like, what's one of your favorite songs, you know, that you made?
It's a lot of them, but it's based on the moods that I'm in. You know, some days I'm in a lyrical mood. Some days I'm in a spiritual mood. Some days I'm just in a fun, entertaining mood. So I hear different songs because I pride myself on being diverse enough to write about a bunch of different topics. So depending on how I'm feeling, man, on the days where I'm feeling real lyrical, I just want to hear some lyrical stuff, you know, and it's rare when I listen to my own music. So when I do listen to my own music, it sounds new to me because I'm not one of them people that just sit around jamming my own stuff all day long. So I may go months and months without hearing a song I did, and I can listen to it and it still got a fresh feel to it. So when I think about songs like Duality, Journey Through the Metaphor Labyrinth, Perpetual Ascension, those are songs that I listen to after a while, and I'm like, man, you know, like I pat myself on the back a little bit, but you try to remain humble at the same time because I'm thankful to God that I was able to write some of that stuff.
That's true. That's true. Now, how many albums do you currently have out right now?
About 30 total in my whole career. I dropped like about 30 projects over the course of the 30 years I've been rapping, and in the early 2000s is when I really picked up the pace because if you trace my career back, when you go back to the 90s, I think I dropped 4 albums in the whole decade of the 90s. You know, that's pretty low. That's a pretty small number. But from maybe 2003 to current time, I probably dropped 25 albums because I'm dropping 2 and 3 a year. So I just wanted to pick the pace up, man, because, you know, when I was growing up, man, you know, and I'm sure you could say the same thing, when you got rappers that you really like to listen to, you can't wait for them to come back out with new music. And sometimes they take a long time. You're like, man, I'd be glad when my boy drops something else. You know, and it takes forever. So I never wanted to be like that, you know, with my fans. I always wanted to give them a bunch of music so they would be satisfied.
Wow. So how many are you planning to drop this year?
Well, I've been saying I'm going to drop 3 this year, but we already closing in on April, and I haven't put one out yet. But I know me. I know how I am. So if I don't do 3, you're going to at least get 2 from me. So you'll see at least 2 albums drop this year. But if I hit a stretch, if I go into a zone, I might still do the 3.
Okay. You know, I wanted to ask you this question too. It's a deep question, kind of, because a lot of people, you know, even with my blog and my Facebook group and stuff like that, people hand me songs all day and they're sending me links all day. But I don't think they understand everything that goes into being a rapper, you know, because when I check out everything that they're doing, it's like, you're doing some of this stuff, but at the same time, it's like, if you're really, really that serious about it, instead of sending me it, maybe you should do other, other methods. Like, what do you think one of the biggest misconception is about being a rapper? Because it seems like everybody wants to be a rapper nowadays. Like, I walk through my hood and, everybody wants to be a rapper or a basketball player, but really a rapper. I mean, what do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions about being a rapper,
Well, the biggest misconception or the biggest thing that people, biggest mistake that a lot of artists make is that they feel like the success comes instantly, and they neglect the process. They neglect the hard work steps that you have to take in order to reach certain levels of success. And the hard work doesn't even guarantee that you're going to be successful, but it puts you in a position. So what happens is you got young artists that sit around, they watch TV, they watch the video shows, they watch the award shows, and they see these guys who are, in most cases, portraying images that are really not who they really are, and they're portraying lifestyles that they're really not living. And it fools these young guys into thinking that this is what it is, this is the life that it is, when in most cases a lot of those rappers that they're watching on TV don't even have that stuff. That stuff isn't even theirs. So I think what happens is an artist has to educate themselves on what it takes. I got a song that anybody listening to this, especially if you're an artist coming up, I got a song called You Think You're Ready. And that's what it's talking about. That very question you just asked me is talking about you think you're ready to be in this industry. You think you're ready to be in this game, but when you start seeing all the different things that you got to go through and all the different type of steps you have to take in order to be successful, are you still going to be able to be strong enough to make it, to face the rejection, to face the problems that come along and how dirty and shady the industry is? Are you tough enough? Are you built for the game? So I would advise every artist to go listen to that song.
That's true. Now nowadays, do you feel, because, it seems like everybody's doing the independent thing. Like, it seems like everybody has a record label and, a lot of people are doing independent nowadays. I mean, in this day and age, do you feel, since we do have the internet, I was hearing Damon Dash talk about the internet, like, saying that we don't need labels. That was his opinion, but I wanted to get your opinion. Like, do you feel that record labels are still relevant? I mean, or can you just do it all yourself,
Well, I mean, it depends on what your aspiration as an artist is and what are you trying to get out of this. See, some people feel as though a major label can be the platform that can propel them to a certain level of success, to a certain level of exposure and fame and notoriety, which would eventually get them to the money. And other people are just like, I don't even want to be a part of that whole system, that whole machine. So it just depends on your perspective as an artist. Now, me personally, I think I've got a pretty good feel on how the majors operate and the agenda, the hidden agenda that they operate under. So I don't really want any part of it. I don't really want any participation in it. And plus, I'm a believer in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who teaches us to do for self, to not try to be a part of somebody else's corporation if you can help it, but to try to build your own corporation. So from the very beginning, we always tried to establish our own labels and our own distribution to try to do things for ourselves. Now, is it easier? Is it harder doing it like that? Of course it is. But in the long run, nothing beats being able to call your own shots and being able to have that creative control. So, my thing is, whatever the artist aspires for himself, just make sure you understand what you get yourself into and just go for it.
That's real. That's real. Now, in the midst of like a lot of, in the midst of a lot of garbage in the music industry, it seems like everybody's talking about popping mollies and selling dope and, pimping the hoes and, just everything negative. I mean, what keeps you so positive, and what keeps you, still motivated? Because it seems like all the kids want to hear nowadays, I can't say y'all because you got a huge fan base and everything, but it seems like a good percentage of the kids nowadays just want to hear all that crap. I mean, what really keeps you motivated? Like, you know what? I'm still going to keep on going. I'm still going to keep it positive. I'm still going to tell people how it is. I'm going to tell them how the industry is. I'm going to tell them about everything that's going on with these religions. Like, what keeps you still wanting to seed knowledge, and what keeps you still motivated to still do it in the game with so much garbage out there,
Well, just the fact that when you come into knowledge, when you come into wisdom and understanding, then number one, you have an obligation to pass on that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Number two, when you acquire that kind of knowledge and you believe in it wholeheartedly, you believe that it's the absolute truth and it's the absolute best thing and best solution for the people as a whole, then you have no problem. It becomes a part of you, which makes it become a part of your music. So I have a drive to push that message out. So it comes easy for me. Number two, also, in terms of the way the industry works, is that the youth, the youngsters that are listening to and kind of subscribing to, like you said, the pimping and whoring and the selling drugs and the violence and the materialism, for the most part, this is all that's being fed to them. Yeah. So back to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said, if you set a dirty glass of water out in front of the people and that's all they got, then quite naturally they're going to drink from it because it's the only option being given to them. But if you set a clean glass of water right next to the dirty glass, now the people have a choice. So if they have any intelligence in their mind, they're going to naturally grab the clean glass of water. So musically, you try to do your best to represent that clean glass, even though I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm the perfect example as a person or as an artist, but you forever striving to be that, because as you grow, when I was 20, 21, 22, I made songs where I was just like, didn't care. We talked about women, we glorified violence, we did all that. But when you mature as a person, as a man, as an artist, you start to understand the value and the power of words and the responsibility that you have as an artist in what you are saying and the effect that it has on people and their behavior. So you don't want to be responsible. You don't want to be the one who contributes to the detriment of an individual because they follow behind something negative that you said in a rap song. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, that's true.
People follow behind that. So that's my motivation.
That's true. That's good. I mean, that's powerful right there. I know that you being in Houston and, in DJ Screw and, in Paul Walk, Millionaire, like, Trader Troop, and a lot of these guys, like, when they're talking about sipping lean, because I know lean was a big thing in Texas. When they talk about all these things, do you think they consciously know what they're doing, or do you think that, man, they just don't know? They just they caught up in a lifestyle, and they just it's not that they're trying to sell negativity or they're trying to promote negativity. It's their lifestyle, and they're not really thinking of it like that. Or do you think that these artists are consciously knowing what they're doing?
Well, I mean, if I didn't know a lot of those guys personally, then I may feel like that they're either being swayed to speak on certain things, or they're just naturally being that way in their music. But the fact that I know a lot of these guys, most people that rap, most of the guys that you spoke about, they're just rapping about a lifestyle. They're rapping about things that they do in their everyday life, and it's not intended to glorify. See, because I know these guys personally, so I can look at it and say, well, I know this guy. He's not trying to glorify it. He's just basically giving a rundown of what he does and part of what he does at times. But it doesn't represent the totality of who he is or who she is as an individual. Because I could use Trey as a perfect example. I don't think that there's no rapper in the city of Houston, and I could be wrong. If somebody hears this and can prove me wrong, then I'll accept the correction. But I don't think it's a rapper in the city of Houston that does more for the community than Trey does.
Wow.
But if you listen to his music, and a lot of people, if they are swayed by, well, Trey was on some gangster stuff on this song, or Trey mentioned some swangers on this particular song, then people can be misled into thinking that he's that's what he's all about. But knowing him personally, it's like, man, I see the things that this guy does for the community. I see the things that he does for less fortunate children and so on and so forth. And it's the same with any of those guys, because we don't want to condemn an individual for a particular vice that they may have or they may express in their music, because, like I say, we all been there. I've been there, and some people. And peep it on this level, you have people who don't rap about anything negative, but their lifestyles may be contrary to that. You see what I'm saying? So
that's true.
You hearing this guy and you thinking he's so righteous, he's so this, he's so that, but you don't know he was in the crack house yesterday. You see, so it can be misleading. So we got to kind of get to the root of these things before we just let the music be what creates the judgment, the overall judgment of an individual.
That's true. I was going to ask you, too, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, when people are going through your catalogs and, I don't know if you're still going to be rapping. I mean, praise God if you do. I mean,
I probably will.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because I know you got the heart, you got the spirit, you got the mind. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is, what do you want your when people look at think of K-Reno, what do you want your legacy to be?
I mean, at the end of the day, I just want people to say that I helped make a difference in their life for the better through my music, and people tell me that now, so that's what makes that question easy to answer, because people already tell me that this particular song saved their life, this particular album helped them through a tough time, and that motivates you to keep doing that, because you get it from all age demographics, from 15-year-olds to 40-year-olds to people telling me, hey man, my mama don't even listen to rap, but she like your music, So that's what I would want my legacy to be, one of positive transformation of people's lives through my music. Because I think that's what stands the test of time more than anything. I could make a dance song and it'd be a hot track for this year, or I could make a little silly, catchy little song that'll ride for 6 months and get some hype, get some shine. But a lot of those guys, you don't remember those cats after a while, because it's gonna be another one of them come along next year. But the people who had the words to say, that's why people still talk about Pac in 2015, and next year Pac will be dead 20 years next year. You see what I'm saying? But his words are still resonating in the minds and souls of people, because the words are it's like scripture, man. It's like he says something that's sunk into your soul that people are basing their whole existence off of. That's the dude you want to be. That's the legacy you want to leave. You want people to remember your words and have an impact on them.
That's true. That's true. Now, I remember back in the early 2000s, I was a kid. I graduated high school about 2007. And even around 2007, I remember, Mike Jones and Chameleon there. And it just seemed like Texas was hot. Like everything was just so hot. Like, why do you think Texas isn't really getting the recognition that they deserve nowadays? Like what happened? Like, why were you guys so hot and then now not? Is it the industry isn't signing cats from Houston no more, or from Texas, or what's really going on down there?
Well, it's a combination of things. I mean, at the time, there were a lot of guys, like you said. Chameleon was doing his thing. Mike Jones, Slim, Paul, all those guys were really, really on top. But I think what may have kind of led to that all fizzling out was that I always say I wish a lot of those guys would have funneled in new artists while they were on top at the time, while they were at the peak of success, to bring in some new guys and kind of build up a roster and build up a movement that would outlast their own buzz. And I think that's what makes the difference. If you look at a basketball team or a pro football team, Magic Johnson and Kareem, they don't play for the Lakers no more. You know what I'm saying? But you still got Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Because while they were doing their thing, you're bringing in new guys. So as the old Lakers go out, here come the Kobe's and the Shaqs, and so, but the brand remains. You see what I'm saying? That's what record labels do. The good record labels. If you take a Motown Records from back in the days, you have all these names. A label is only as good as its roster, and a city is only as good as the roster of artists that it continues to produce. So once those guys, and knowing the history of music and the history of rap, for rappers, man, if you are mainstream or you having some mainstream success, the truth is you only get a small window of time with that. You only get 3, 4, 5 years if you're lucky to get 5 years just being in that top seat. So what has to happen as an artist, you have to look down the line of time. You have to look forward and say, you know what, man, I'm selling 3, 4 million records right now. I'm the hottest name in the game. But right now, while I am the hottest name in the game, I need to be preparing for a day when I'm not. And if I can do that, then I can still remain relevant. And I think that's what Houston didn't do at that time. And when the lights went out, it seemingly went out for the whole city, but it's still a lot of cats that's killing it out here. That's super hard. And just real quick, another thing that when Houston was really kind of popping, that was a distribution company called Southwest Wholesale that put a lot of the artists' music in the record stores and helped to push a lot of the local independent labels out of the city. That way you would see guys coming out selling 30, 40, 50,000, 100,000 units independently, and the city had a stronger backbone. That company folded. And I'm not saying that we should have leaned on that. We should have used them as an example to build something of our own. But that did contribute to kind of the downfall of the city and the recognition of it.
Wow. Now, I know you guys like Houston, even to this day, has that screwed and chopped and that slower kind of the slow bass, the lean music. Like, I don't even know how would you describe it? Like, is there a name for it?
Well, yeah, of course, screwed. If somebody say screw music, that's automatically attributed to the great DJ Screw, who slowed it down and chopped it up. It's so real, and the respect for Screw is so great that even though people still slow down music out here, those who know, we try not to even call it Screw, just out of respect for Screw, because the saying is, if Screw didn't do it, it ain't screwed. So we'll say slow down. Trey came out with Slab, which stood for slow, loud, and banging. Just paying homage, to DJ Screw. You had DJs like Michael Watts, who did the slow down thing too, and was able to keep that sound going. So that's what it is. I don't like the connection to the lean and the syrup sipping and the drink and all that, but the reality of it is it coincided with that whole movement, with that whole culture. But we don't want to glorify that type of activity.
True.
If we can help it.
I feel you. I was going to ask you too, because I know that you personally knew DJ Screw. Now, how did you guys meet, and what was your guys' relationship like? Like what did you guys, like were you guys working on music together, or like what exactly were you guys doing, and how did you guys meet?
Oh, we went to school together. The high school that I went to was the home of a lot of the great artists to come out of the city of Houston. DJ Screw went to Sterling High. Fat Pat went to Sterling High. Of course, me. A lot of great artists, went to that school and from that neighborhood, South Park or the south side of town. Scarface, Lil Kiki, just different members of the Screwed Up Clique. So I met Screw when I was in the 11th grade and he was in the 9th grade, and this was long before he was slowing it down and chopping it up, but he was still DJ Screw. He was a DJ. And he just was a humble guy, with a humble spirit, and he never treated anybody any better than anybody else. He always showed respect and love for everybody. So, we met in high school, man, and a lot of those cats, we met in the streets, just coming across each other at talent shows or rap battles, or later on just coming in contact just in general, because some of those guys are younger than me. And my era, just to familiarize people, my clique is the South Park Coalition, and we started in like 87. Screw started the Screwed Up Clique probably in the early 90s, so we came a little bit before them, but it was always mutual respect and love, because they appreciated what we did coming first, and we definitely appreciated what they did, because they took Houston to the next level.
It's true. I was going to ask you too, like, I see a lot of artists falling by the wayside, like, over the years, just in the last 10 years. But I know you said you've been in the game ever since, like, the 80s. So I was going to ask you, what kept you so successful and still on top? Because I hear people that really, really do know hip-hop. They always say, when I ask them who's the top lyricist, they say, okay, Rakim, KRS-One, K-Reno. Like, K-Reno is in that conversation with these guys. So, I mean, what do you think kept you so successful, and what kept you still doing it and not really being like, man, like, I've been doing this for about 20 years. I think it's time to give it up. Like what makes you still so successful? You know what I'm saying? Because people still regard you as the top lyricist. I look at your YouTube. I mean, the YouTube is popping. I mean, everything is crazy. And like I said, people do look at you as one of the top lyricists. Now, what made you, what keeps you so relevant in today's times, you think,
I mean, you got to have love for what you do.
True.
If you love what you do, then you're going to give your best and you're going to get the most out of it. When you start to lose the love for it, that's when it starts to show and reflect in the music. People start to seeing you, they can feel you falling off. It's like, they don't hear the same fire in your voice and your delivery no more. They could tell that the work is starting to get shabby now. This album sounds rushed. He didn't put it together. He didn't put the time to work in. So when you still got love for it, you don't skip those steps. And also you have to always think about, like we were speaking about earlier, I feel obligated to the people who listen to me. Like you was talking about the people on YouTube, the people mentioning my name, I can't let them down. If they viewing me as one of the best, that's a compliment to me. That's an honor to me. So I'm not going to let them brag on me and say that he's one of the best, and then I turn around and put some trash out. So I have to use that as motivation. Some people listen to that and they let it go to their head, and then they fall off behind it. They relax because they feel like, when everybody think I'm great, I can relax. Now, when they think you're great, that's when the pressure is greater, and you have to push harder to validate what they think about you. Not only, okay, you think I'm great, okay, so not only am I going to prove you right, but I'm going to exceed your expectation. I'm going to go 10 times better. That's what motivates me. That's what keeps me pushing like that, because I don't ever want people to say he fell off. If I get to that point, then I got to quit. I got to just, I'm done. I can't rap no more.
I hear you. Respectable. I was going to ask you, now what is something that the fans may not know? Like, something about K-Reno that the fans might not know about you, like, your favorite food, or maybe what music you like outside of hip-hop, or, favorite hobbies. Like, what is something that they might not know about you,
Oh, man, they probably don't know how silly I am, I'm just chilling, laid back. But, I mean, I like to have fun, man. I like to laugh, man. I lead a pretty simple life. I don't do any extravagant type of things, man. But you know, I get the most out of what I do, and you know. But I respect all people, and I respect the people who have held me up, you know, for all these years, because you know this is all I do, you know. And I've been blessed to find what I did at an early age and figure out what I wanted to do at an early age, and this is all I do. So I'm thankful.
That's real. Now, we're pretty much coming to an end with the interview. Did you want to shout out any projects or any social media or anything like that?
Oh yeah, man. You know, for anybody, you know, that's listening to this, that whether you're familiar with me or not, especially if you're not, go to iTunes. My whole catalog is on iTunes, not to mention some other projects that I never released, just commercially released. Go to iTunes and purchase everything that you can. I got a website that's called SouthParkCoalition.net for the people who want to buy physical CDs. You can order music from there. You ever want to hit me up and just chop it up with me, hit me up on Twitter. I try my best to, you know, respond to all the people who hit me up. I hate when rappers think they too good to respond to the fans, so I try not to be that dude. If you hit me up and you're talking sensible, I'll hit you back. If you hit me up and you're talking crazy, I ain't got time for you. But other than that, man, Twitter, Facebook, you know, get at me. It's all love. And, you know, I thank God for the blessings, man. And I appreciate you having me, man.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for being such a, you know, contribution to hip-hop. I'm going to keep on listening, spreading the word, and just thank you for all the beautiful music, man.
It's all love, big brother. Much love.
All right, much love. Peace.